when you love yourself, when you care for yourself, when you forgive yourself, when you nurture you, it automatically flows to others.
Such a powerful message.
It really is.
So
Love
there's
is all that matters.
yeah, and once you realize it's all connected, you're never really alone. But people are, this will be my last little thought on this. People are really in need of somebody just to hear their story.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie, back at it again with another part of this conversation. I hope you're ready for it, and I hope you tuned in to see the first part.
Thank you, everybody, for joining again. It's Justin with Living Life Consciously. I'm glad to be here as always, and I hope you enjoy this next part.
And I'm Leslie, your love lit co-host, aka Light Being Love, aka eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience.
Love that.
All right, and without further ado, we'll get to the video.
If I can go ahead and I have a few words to share.
Yes, go ahead.
So I did want to thank you, Reverend Bill, so much for sharing your light with the world and for the service to humanity during this important transition we are in. I am forever grateful that you saved those innocent children in Vietnam when you chose to follow your heart instead of the orders to fire. To me, you are a beacon of light, a true inspiration, and I resonate with your message on so many levels. Please forgive me if I'm slightly intimidated by your wealth of knowledge and experience with the topic of spiritual things.
She's so cute.
So it was a big synchronicity with the owls. I spoke to my friend. I don't know if you are aware how you ended up being invited here on Hello Allie YouTube, but it's through a friend in Discord who
You got
originally.
you got little orbs bouncing up behind you from the creek.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they think those are mosquitoes.
There's some gnats too, so it could be that. But
It's like,
of course.
Yeah, it could be gnats. Who knows? I didn't want to bug you though.
Pun intended. But
Yeah.
So anyway, but there's a cool synchronicity because I did find out actually that
You got fire there? You got incense burning?
she's burning incense to keep the mosquitoes away.
Yeah. I'm surrounded by incense right now, trying to help with that. And it's nice. I feel very calm.
Good.
Anyway, so yeah, I was driving around town. I was listening to a previously aired channeling on like a really big YouTube channel that does, NDEs, channelers, all sorts of spiritual and metaphysical things. But so it was an old recording, and actually I watched it because the numbers of the views and the date it was released, I don't know, it was like only 3, 6, and 9s in that, and then it was released. Well, the release date was my birthday, so I was like, oh my god, I gotta watch this. I mean, obviously, just watch this, which I got a lot out of that whole video. But during that video, towards the end, I'm driving around and it starts. Let me read what I wrote so that way I don't get too let's see. So I'm driving around and I end up watching the video, which it was Next Level Soul. Yolanda Tong was the video, if anybody is curious of that one. But so of course I listened to the entire message, which was really resonated. She started talking about the monad. During this part, I thought of you, Reverend Bill, in this interview, and I was wondering if I should ask you about it. Because of course I just had this interview on my mind. I had been trying to think, like, what can we talk about? And so I kind of just went with my own stuff with this. But anyway, at the very instant that like I thought of you And if I should ask you that, I come to a crossroad, and cross street is McDonald. And so as soon as I see that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like
Synchronicity.
feeling synchronicity. And then all of a sudden an owl swoops over my car and like
Synchronicity.
onto a light pole right next to me. And I'm just like, oh my God. So, of course, here I am. So I do feel like I should probably ask you about what are your thoughts on the monad? And are you familiar with that? Or channelers for that matter.
Explain to what you mean by the moment, the what?
Monad, and I hope I'm saying it right, but that's what I'm recalling the word to be. And it's basically, if you might could say like a higher self, but it's the levels where we're basically coming down from. Like, it's the monad is the higher soul self, or the higher
Like the
there's
oversoul.
other words. Oversoul might be a better word for what a monad.
Yeah, I had never heard of that word
Yeah,
monad
I've
either.
never heard it either.
I want to say that Bashar may speak on monad, and this lady obviously did, who is another channeler.
Well, I'm no man that of limited ability here. Anyway, yeah, I was hearing nomad, thinking of nomads, wandering the desert or
Right.
something.
Right.
But no, you see, you really want crazy? I'll give you crazy, because
Let's go crazy.
my views on this whole thing, it's really very deep esoteric, or if you listen to my family, it's deep crazy. That's deep crazy. So, but I was on a radio show in Eastern Europe, and the guy asked me, he says, well, obviously, Reverend Bill, you believe in reincarnation, because all these things and stuff. And I go, no. They go, no, 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 no. Yeah. And I go, no. I said, I don't even believe in incarnation. What do you mean? I said, I don't believe in birth. I don't believe in death. I don't believe in heaven. I don't imagine there's no heaven. Anyway.
I always break out into song too.
In other words, because we have an ego, follow me on this.
Okay.
We have an ego that identifies our personal history. It identifies Bill, my I-ness. I call I-ness, right?
Okay.
So when you identify with your own personal story, being I was born, I lived this life, I had a past life, I was in heaven, I was in hell, I was this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Once you identify with that, you have an ego. And when you have an ego, you'll have a body. If the body is a human body, flesh and bone, or it could be an astral body, it could be a body of light, it could be a rainbow body, it could be, whatever it is. If there's any I-ness in you, you've kept yourself separate from the source. You've identified yourself separate. So as long as you're separate, you have an I-ness. And no matter how advanced you are, and you become this great angel or something, well, if you're something, then you're not the one. You're separated. Even though you may be at the highest level and you're floating through, you're this ball of joy and light floating through cosmos and, saving worlds, doing neat things. You still have an I-ness. You still have a personal story. You haven't given up who you are. And so people go, well, I'm going to give it my ego. Well, good luck. Everybody that has a body has an ego. That's it, because you have a self-identification. So do I believe in incarnation, reincarnation, oversoul, undersoul? I mean, all this stuff is like, there's only one.
Wow.
Called God.
Would you say we are a spark, like a fractal of God source?
A fractal.
Experiencing.
Well, that's a cell, a fractal, but even that would be a separation. You are one. We are one. There's no separate. I'm praying to God, which means you believe God is outside of you.
Wow.
I got a whole different philosophical bent, which I don't normally go public with, because people, it's too out there. Oh no, I pray. Okay, great. And God is this, and God is that. Great. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, there's only my belief in one. And people go, what do you mean you believe in one? One time, one space, one one energy. You can call energy light. You could call it love. You can call it anything you want. But the one I call, for lack of a better term, I called God love. Everything's made in God's image. It's all made out of love.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, all of us are that same reservoir. We're all part of
Yeah.
that same body. There's no
Wow.
separate. When you start separating yourself, then your ego is, depending on how far you separate yourself, how big the ego gets. But
Yeah. That's
it's
deep.
I'm always saying the way to know God is to look within yourself and realize that you are Him
that's it.
Or her.
or her
Or them.
or them.
All right. So I had a conversation. Let's go on a different subject here for a second.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'm on this is 2019, the
Okay.
year before,
Okay.
2019, summer of 2019. And I'm on a radio show being broadcast in Bulgaria, I think, or someplace, Eastern Europe. And my usual subjects, they want near death, this, that, And so he accepts all these things, all these stories I'm telling, no question, he accepts it. Then he goes, well, for the last part of the show, what do you, he's testing me. He goes, what do you see for 2020 and beyond? And so I don't normally do that stuff because it serves little purpose, but the ego goes, okay, great, I'll give him what he wants. So I go, well, I said, I don't know what to call it. I said, but 2020, there's going to be a worldwide plague and millions of people worldwide are going to die. Schools are going to shut down. Factories are going to shut down.
Mm.
People are going to be afraid to fly. People are afraid to gather together. Cities will close up. And
Called it.
America will eventually have 1 million people or more die from this plague, whatever this plague is, some kind of medical thing.
And this was 2019 before COVID was even a word yet, right?
And yeah, and this guy's kind of doing this. I noticed the little record light button went from red, recording to, and I go, he stopped recording. He
Oh,
wasn't.
snap.
He wasn't going to play it. But I went on and I said no, and I said California is going to have some terrible, terrible wildfires.
Mm.
It's going to wipe out towns. I said that'll be followed by mudslides. And I said you're going to see a homeless in California just go boom. There'll be homeless people in San Diego. There'll be homeless people in LA sleeping on sidewalks in front of buildings and stuff. Then you're going to see looters, people just go in the store and crash and grab and steal stuff in a store, and just gangs of people walking out. And I went on and on. And I go, and I said, and I see this drought in California is going to last a couple more years. And I said, and it just went on and on with all these predictions and stuff. And the guy just turned me off and kind of goes, yeah, he's thinking I'm crazy. So he didn't play it. He never went on the radio show. He just cut it
Wow.
off. And I'm going, no, really, this stuff's going to happen. And then I said, I wasn't right about the year. I said sometime after 2020. I wasn't sure when. Sometime after 2020, I see Russia going to war with one of their former republics, major war, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it might have been in my mind. If I was analyzed, I probably thought it was going to be Georgia or someplace, but I wasn't sure where. Ukraine. I didn't know. I just spoke it, and there it was, right? But when you try to tell people, because I try to tell the guy, I said, well, the next 3 decades, 30 years, we're looking at 30 years of bad stuff happening, but not as bad as World War One, not as bad as World War Two,
Mm.
not as bad as Vietnam for the United States. You have to realize here's the hope part. I heard a stat the other day, and from 1939 to 1945, there was 1,000 people or more were killed every single day from 1939 the 19, all the way through the end of World War II. 1,000 people a day or more every single day. Now think about how we advanced. Now, if somebody has a shootout and kills 10 people someplace in a mall or something, right? Bad. But it's headline stories for a week. They talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is 1,000 people a day were getting killed during that period of time.
That's
Nobody
horrible.
spoke a word, right?
It was nothing. So, and during World War II, how did we end World War II? We, the most moral, quote unquote, nation in the world, dropped atomic bombs on 2 major cities. Neither one was a military target. It was like 95% civilians killed, men, women, children. We evaporated them. And before we dropped atomic bombs, we firebombed Tokyo, and more people were killed in Tokyo than any of those atomic bombs killed in any one city. So it was over 100,000 burnt to death in Tokyo. So I'm looking at that, plus, 6 million Jews were killed, and 10 million Ukrainians were killed by the Russians, starved them to death. And people forget about the history of Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine wasn't treated very nice by the Russians, not at all.
Mm.
So anyway, so I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, as bad as we think it is now, part of that is because everything that happens worldwide, it's instantly on the internet, it's instantly on the news.
Yep.
And they're all small, contained conflict. So I do believe times are getting better. I don't believe the end times are coming. Oh, the end times are coming. Look at Israel and all. You know what? Eventually that will end. Eventually there'll be a resolution.
That's good to know.
And as bad and as evil as it is, it's got down. You did this to me. I'm doing that to you. It's like, wow.
That can go on forever and ever if you let it. Jeez.
It has, and it will.
It has, yeah.
It'll continue to go forward. You can't exterminate your enemy by thinking they're animals and they're terrible, and both sides are doing that. So it's like they're not killing people; they're exterminating animals. These people are.
They look at them, they label them in their head differently to justify the actions.
Yeah.
When I see politicians in this country calling people vermin and rats, same Hitleristic type of talk that you set people up for doing bad things to people. So
yeah,
so my hope is, and I'm always rolling the dice on things will get better. It will get better, and people are going to get tired of picking on each other. I don't like you because you're like that presidential guy. Or you're that party. You're that religion. You're in that country. So if they listen to what I'm preaching, which is there's only one, how could you do that to your brother? Because that is you.
Right.
It's just another reflection of you, and that's all God. And
then look what happens to all the soldiers, after they've done these horrible things to other human beings, and what they go through and how they're not well taken care of with their, mental
all right,
health.
Now I'm gonna dig another hole here, and you're gonna go, what? Well, so terrible things happen.
Right.
We who have a body and have an ego, we suffer because we believe all that's real. People got killed. I'm telling you, nobody got killed. Nobody got born.
Because the soul can't be killed, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
So, and since we're all the one, we're all God. God has this play going with himself, and all these roles are being played out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you wake up, you're back with the source.
Wake up. You said wake up.
Wake up.
Synchronicity.
Right? Synchronicity. He didn't say die.
You didn't have all these past lives. You didn't have all this wars. None of this was ever real.
Wow.
Just like waking up from a dream at night.
Wow.
Would you say it's more of a play, or more of a play, but school at the same time for
God expressing himself through all these individual egos? and you got the free will to do whatever you want. Do you really have free will? If it's all God, is it a free will? There's another whole argument. You can go into another discussion.
Yeah.
But bottom line is this: it's very callous on my part to say, I mean, you've lost a child or somebody killed somebody. It's like, and I'm telling you, in the deepest philosophical sense, nobody got killed. We are in this body. We have this ego. We believe it. We, meaning I have a body too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is painful for us. It is real for us, right?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
I'm telling you, in the ultimate jump through all these hoops, the ultimate, nothing's happened. Nothing.
Mm.
It's
Hmm.
just God being God, and however it wants to be expressed. So yes,
That's very deep.
asked a question about. I mean, you get down to, oh yeah, there's this and that, and you got astral bodies, you got casual bodies, then you got bodies of lights, and you got rainbow bodies, and you got different levels, seven heavens, and depending what when you leave, what vibration your frequency's at, where you're gonna go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is
And I'm just having a thought, but if we are God, for lack of, I don't know, it's hard to say that. It's weird to say that because of the ridicule you get from like people
well,
that are programmed so much. But what I'm trying to say is that, okay, I lost it. Go ahead. I know you were trying to say something, but yeah, I felt the pressure and I totally
you
just
got, you
lost
got
it.
people
If
out
I
there. You got people out there that egotistical think they are God in a different way than what I'm saying it, because that's like there's crazy people out there hear voices and
Yeah.
God's talking to them and all that. But it's when I say there's only one, that's about as simple as it could be. You want a religion, become the religion of one.
That's great.
Nothing
I
else.
love
There's
that.
just love. And I look at all creation as just love. So it is love that think about this. Everything is made exactly the same. If you go to the atomic level,
Yeah. The basic structures of
Yeah.
everything.
nucleus and electrons and stuff. I mean, everything gets down to these moving things. And when I was in India, well, many times in India, but my many trips to India talking to these holy men, they'll tell you, they said, the sound that these atoms make as they transverse their little small universe,
Mm-hmm.
they're moving, right? That movement makes a sound. And that sound forever, all religions have been trying to duplicate. Some call it the ah man, some call it the om, but it's the sound of creation.
Mm.
In the beginning, there was the word om,
Mm.
sound that comes out. Culturally, people try to have a sound for it. So, love is the energy that moves those things. Love is the energy that creates. Love is the energy that does everything. So, when you attune your body to loving,
Yep.
starting with loving yourself,
Mm-hmm.
then you get closer and closer to finding the real self. But you can't go around telling people, I am God, because people,
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't get a good
It
reaction.
doesn't go well for sure.
yeah, yeah.
And if you even like consider trying to say anything close to that, it does sound very egotistical and weird to say something like that, but to try to explain it, even, which in a way it is what we're trying to say without sounding that way,
Yeah.
egotistical, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the thought I had was like, each individual having all these different experiences from paranormal, alien, whatever it might be, spiritual, deceased loved ones, or just mediumship, just all of it, channeling. It's I mean, we are creators as well, like many creators or whatever, maybe big creators, I don't know, but we create. And so we're also creating all of these supernatural, other dimensional experiences. Could I'm thinking out loud and totally, I don't think I've ever really thought about it this way, but I mean, if we are sparks of the divine experience in itself,
Mm-hmm.
we're also we don't realize it in these human bodies, but we're also creating all the other stuff. I don't
Every,
know. I'm going off onto something. But
absolutely everything that happens to you, you have created, you've manifested. So these people teach me how to manifest, and everybody, what does everybody want to manifest? A new car, a new job, perfect this, material things.
Yeah.
Right.
You're wasting your time. Manifest love.
Yeah.
Everything else will take care of itself. Manifest love and start with the love for yourself. And then when you love yourself, you realize you're loving
it's so
God.
true. Yeah. And when you start to love yourself, the negative thoughts, all the negative rumination, which you're creating for your life, you realize like what you've been doing, and it's you got to start working on creating
Mm-hmm.
greatness for yourself and love with which is love, yes, and to
Yeah.
be able to accept other humans and everybody's faults, what is from your perspective, I guess, is a fault, but so yeah, it's like everybody's just on the same journey. We're all doing the same thing together, and love is definitely
Well,
what we're doing here and where we need to come to that awareness for sure.
here's the deal. Says there's only one time, one place, one space. It's all now.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. In a quote unquote future now, which is now, we already one with the source. We already self-realized. We've already mastered this. We're at a different, higher level, and moving in another place. We're already back with the divine source. We are awakened.
Yeah.
But at this time in this place, we're focused on this place and on this time scale. All time exists simultaneously. That's why people say, well, where's the destiny? All this stuff is happening to me. Well, you know what? Because simultaneously you're doing these other things in other dimensions, other lifetimes,
Mm.
creating a situation for you now. Everything you've done, you've earned, you've manifested. It's supposed to happen because you created it. Even if somebody tells you your fortune, and they go, oh, the guy made a prediction. So is that fate or is that, no, it's all you. You created it.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, there is a lot of talks of blueprints and soul contracts. So what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you for asking that. I've been thinking about soul contracts for the past like 10 minutes.
well, I sold my souls. Anyway, no. Teasing.
Okay.
Somebody will believe that. Oh, Bill sold his soul.
Don't say that.
Anyway, so it's all
To God.
you got to think about your karma. So in a previous lifetime, which is happening now, you cheated somebody or you did something to some person. The people that you have to work the karma out with in the next previous or some lifetime have to be in your sphere of influence
Mm.
for you to work it out. So therefore, if you take a look at the structures of family, that's where the greatest conflict takes place.
Amen to that.
Siblings, uncles, aunts, parents, it's crazy.
Brothers.
Others, but you have those issues because the people that you love the most or have the most difficulty with, they're going to end up being your family. It's like, sometimes you don't have a choice. Well, I signed a contract. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's just on the other side, they go, no, you got this debt. Pay it now or pay it later.
Mm.
You've done something to this person, and the only way you can make this karma go away is you got to make it right, or they get to something happens, retaliates against you or whatever. So that's why the greatest love and the greatest anger is all in families, and that also means families of nations against each other, Israel, Palestinians, and all that.
Micro to the macro, yeah.
There's a lot of karmic stuff going on. They may be reincarnated as a Jew, and they come back next lifetime and they're a Muslim. It could go back and forth, but it's the same anger issues. Doesn't matter which side they're on. My religion is right, your religion is wrong, and you're a bad guy. I'm gonna get rid of you. Yes, Ukraine and the Russians. It doesn't matter. Pick any side you want. it doesn't matter what country you're in, those same personality issues will be worked out. So once you stop looking at what happened in the past and just start clean with everybody, it's clean slate. Forgive, move on. You're not forgiving for you. You're forgiving. Well, you are forgiving for you. You're not doing a favor to the other person. But when you're forgiving the other person, you're releasing yourself from that prison.
Yeah.
Because you had a trouble with this person 20 years ago, and they're on your thoughts all the time. You thought about them for the last 20 years.
You're energetically tied to it, right?
Yeah, and I tell them, I guarantee they haven't given you a second thought since they messed
Yeah.
That
you up.
part. That
Yeah.
part.
And the unforgiveness, that energy and that vibration is just, it eats away at yourself if you're holding
Mhm.
on to that.
Yeah.
So forgiveness is what keeps this world from being blown apart. Think about World War II. You guys
Mhm.
aren't quite old enough, but read the history books. Take a
Yeah.
End of World War II. I mean, who's our enemy? Japan, Italy, Germany, right? And yet, who's America's allies? Japan, Italy, Germany. That's our top allies. I mean, they're right there for us. So we got
Yeah.
allegiance with them, right? So if we didn't have that healing, we'd have problems. The trouble with World War II is you didn't have the healing from World War One.
Right.
World War I was over. Instead of working with Germans to help them rebuild their economy, they made them pay for everybody else's ruined economy, and it caused problems, right?
Yep.
Still hated them. So that just led to the next war. So I'm looking at things, going back to this optimistic stuff. We as a species, as bad as it looks out there with school shootings, race riots, Nazis, name all that crap, on a scale of what it used to be, is so much less.
Well, that's
Mm.
good.
The volume is just not there. We as a species are evolving, even though there's not a lot of apparent evidence that that's the case. But I see great growth. And when you start to grow, it's very hard on the people that hate and are stuck in the past.
Mm.
That's where you get the friction. People don't want to change. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, my God, people in this country with Nazi salutes, they don't even remember history. I go, good grief, come on,
Mm.
wait. So I appreciate being invited on here to share some things. There
Yeah.
are people who listen to what I've talked about, and we didn't do this in any semblance of logic or order.
Mm.
On an emotional journey where it took
I
us.
had a question for you. Do you think it's necessary to experience suffering or going through darkness in order to find the light, or to have a spiritual awakening, or the understanding of who and what we are and what we're doing here?
There's my apparent answer, which is that's how people change. That's always been the way it was.
Okay.
With pain, people won't make any effort. To another part of it says, well, all you got to do is wake up. It's over. But you ain't gonna wake up until you've had a reason to wake up. In other words, without pain, see, pain is a teacher. Pain is a friend. But having pain and suffering are two different things. But when things happen to you in your life, marriage breaks up, relationship is gone, health goes, finances,
Mhm.
people understand you. I think one of the worst things that happened to people, and this, I can't prove it psychologically or anything else, but the
Yeah.
people I counsel, the worst thing that happens is people feel unloved and abandoned.
Mm.
People don't feel hugged.
Seen.
Even if they're in a room of 50 people at a party, loneliness is the killer of the spirit.
Mm.
When that happens, depression, suicide, all illness, all that stuff happens. So
Mhm.
I work with people to realize that when you love yourself, when you care for yourself, when you forgive yourself, when you nurture you, it automatically flows to others.
Such a powerful message.
It really is.
So
Love
there's
is all that matters.
yeah, and once you realize it's all connected, you're never really alone. But people are, this will be my last little thought on this. People are really in need of somebody just to hear their story. Listen,
Right. Right.
this happened to me as a kid. Why do people pay thousands of dollars to a psychologist to tell a story? Because they don't have a friend to listen.
Yeah.
Mm.
hmm
Hmm.
Hmm. Well,
Stories to a psychiatrist at $1,000 a day, doesn't do a damn thing.
right.
When you forgive yourself and you're forgiving those people, you don't have to tell your story anymore. It's you love you. It's all good. Move on. So,
Right.
Well,
but if we're
I,
able to share what we've shared, I hope that's helped you out. We will do more.
okay. Well, I've
I think
really
that's
resonated with.
conversation.
Well, I've really resonated with this conversation and with you. I feel like there's a lot of things that I haven't shared yet, but we can share it another time that uh, are very synchronistic with your own experiences. But with that being said, I would like to ask you, what is your greatest hope for the future of humanity?
Humanity, everybody wakes up. There's no one left behind. There's no one to hell. We're all one. So I have every day I see something hopeful. I look at life. I see the sun come up. I see the sun go down. I see babies born. Uh, I see flowers. I see everything. I'm going, it's a wonderful world if you choose to see it.
Yes.
Yes.
Miracles every day. If you believe in miracles, you will see them. If you don't
I
believe in
believe in miracles.
you don't, they're there. And I've seen miracles. Here's the other kicker: miracles. Things we don't understand, we call it a miracle.
Right.
Being able to do this across thousands of miles, if this was years ago, this would be voodoo science. This would be witchcraft. Oh my
True.
God, miracle.
It's a miracle.
They could fly in a machine, right? So once you understand the principles of something, it's no longer considered a miracle. Flying is not a miracle. Telephone is not a miracle. TV is not a miracle.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true.
Someday, if people understand teleportation and all these different things, they're not a miracle. It's just applied spiritual science.
Very well said.
Yes. Thank
Very
you.
well said. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We hope you enjoyed this conversation with Reverend Bill McDonald. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Me too.
Yep. And I thought it was really a great conversation.
Yep.
We would love to hear your comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family. We appreciate you being here and for watching. And until next time, to be continued.
To be continued.
See you next time.
Namaste.
The evolution of life
Namaste.
seems to have been profoundly altered by collisions with such bodies.
Asteroids.